Welcome to News Edge, your sharpest source for daily headlines and deep dives. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay ahead of the curve. Russia is flexing its military might with July Storm, its largest naval exercise of the year. Over 150 warships, 120 aircraft, and 15,000 troops are involved, spanning the Pacific, Arctic, Baltic, and Caspian Seas. The drills feature live missile launches and advanced technology, testing the Navy's combat skills. The timing and scale send a warning to NATO and its allies. The world must now reckon with a resurgent Russian Navy. Russia's naval drills have triggered alarm across the globe. Western nations see them as a direct challenge, especially with exercises near NATO territory. The United States has responded by deploying its own warships, raising the risk of confrontation. Former President Trump has issued a 50-day ultimatum to Russia: agree to a ceasefire or face severe economic penalties. The threat of new tariffs and sanctions looms large. The international response is divided. Western allies condemn the drills, but Russia is not isolated. Moscow is strengthening ties with China, conducting joint naval exercises that highlight a growing partnership. This Russia-China alliance is a counterweight to NATO and signals a shift in global power. The world is becoming more polarized and unpredictable. Strategic alliances are hardening, complicating Western planning. Every move now has global consequences. The naval drills are just one front in a much larger geopolitical struggle. The stakes are higher than ever, with the risk of escalation growing. The West faces a formidable challenge from this new axis. Russia and China's cooperation is reshaping the world order. The situation is volatile, with no easy solutions. The world is entering a dangerous new era of rivalry. The balance of power is shifting before our eyes. The consequences of these actions will be felt for years to come. The global environment is more tense and unstable than it has been in decades. As Russia's Navy maneuvers globally, the war in Ukraine grinds on. The naval drills are a message. Russia can fight on multiple fronts. On the ground, Russian forces are making slow gains in eastern Ukraine, using drones and relentless artillery. Ukrainian defenses are strained by shortages of soldiers and ammunition. Ukraine strikes back, targeting Russian infrastructure and causing disruptions. But setbacks continue, including the loss of a French Mirage 2000 jet to equipment failure. The war has become a brutal contest of attrition, with Russia controlling about 20% of Ukrainian territory. Front lines shift slowly, but casualties are high on both sides. Russian analysts urge escalation, hoping to force Ukraine's surrender. The violence is unrelenting, with no end in sight. The naval exercises serve as psychological warfare, aiming to demoralize Ukraine and its allies. Russia wants to project an image of limitless resources. The West is meant to question the value of supporting Ukraine. Moscow hopes its show of strength at sea will translate to advantage on land. This is as much about perception as military reality. The world is watching to see who will break first. The conflict's outcome remains uncertain. Russia's strategy is to convince the world its victory is inevitable. The war's human and strategic costs continue to mount. Diplomatic efforts continue, but hopes for peace are dim. Talks in Istanbul have stalled, with both sides entrenched. Russia demands Ukraine surrender annexed territories and abandon NATO ambitions, terms Kyiv and the West reject. The gap between the two sides is unbridgeable for now. Russia negotiates from a position of perceived strength, reinforced by its military actions. Ukraine, backed by the West, refuses to cede sovereignty. The international community watches, but few expect a breakthrough. The fighting rages on, and the West considers tougher measures to pressure Moscow. Diplomacy feels like a formality, not a real path to peace. The real decisions are being made on the battlefield. As long as these core disagreements persist, talks will go nowhere. The war's end is nowhere in sight. The world remains on edge, hoping for a diplomatic miracle. The cost of failure is measured in lives lost and futures destroyed. The battlefield, not the negotiating table, will decide the outcome. Russia is preparing for a long conflict, not just abroad, but at home. A new law allows year-round military conscription, a major policy shift. The Kremlin is building a system for a constant flow of soldiers, signaling a permanent war footing. This move institutionalizes mobilization and prepares society for prolonged conflict. The ability to draft troops year-round ensures steady reinforcements for a war of attrition. Russia is restructuring its society and economy for perpetual war. The message: Moscow is digging in for the long haul. Every aspect of Russian life is being shaped by this transformation. The Kremlin wants a resilient, militarized nation ready for confrontation with the West. This is not a temporary crisis. It's a new reality. The implications are profound for Russia and the world. The era of quick wars is over. Russia is settling in for the long fight. The crisis extends beyond Russia and Ukraine. It's about shifting global power. Russia's naval drills answer NATO's moves, raising the risk of direct conflict. Russian and American warships now operate in the same strategic waters, increasing volatility. Russia is not alone. Its alliance with China is deepening. Joint naval exercises highlight a growing military partnership. Together, Russia and China challenge the US-led order, pushing for a multipolar world. This cooperation changes the West's strategic calculus. Global politics are heating up, with debates and crises multiplying. Russia's actions accelerate instability and shift power dynamics. The Russia-China partnership is the most significant development, uniting military and economic power. Their shared goal: reduce American influence and reshape geopolitics. The world is dividing into rival blocs, democratic versus authoritarian. This is the new global reality. The stakes have never been higher. The conflict is also an economic war. Western sanctions threaten to cripple Russia's economy, with new penalties looming. Economic pressure is central to the West's strategy. Make the war too costly for Moscow. Internal instability is growing, as seen in corporate crises like Sona Comstar's boardroom drama. Geopolitical instability sends shockwaves through global markets. Economic warfare influences political decisions and adds complexity to the conflict. Both Russia and the West feel the strain. Sanctions disrupt supply chains and fuel inflation. The cost of supporting Ukraine is enormous, creating political headaches for Western leaders. This economic struggle is a test of endurance. The outcome may depend on which side withstands the pressure longer. The economic front is as critical as the battlefield. Hybrid war means every sector is a target. The world's economies are now part of the conflict. Technology is reshaping the war, but the human cost remains immense. Russia uses drones and advanced missiles, while Ukraine relies on Western tech to level the field. The July Storm exercises are a showcase for Russia's latest military hardware. Ukraine's challenges with foreign equipment, like the Mirage jet crash, highlight the limits of technology. Behind every weapon are people, soldiers, technicians, and civilians. Russia's year-round conscription law shows the scale of manpower needed. Ukraine faces a shortage of troops, adding to the strain. Russian strikes devastate cities. Ukrainian attacks bring the war home to Russia. The suffering is widespread. Families torn apart, lives upended. Every technological advance has a human consequence. The war's brutality is unchanged by new weapons. Stories of bravery and loss remind us what's at stake. Technology changes tactics, not the tragedy of war. The conflict is a human disaster on a massive scale. The world faces a dangerous new reality. Russia's naval exercises and the Ukraine war have pushed global tensions to the brink. The risk of escalation is real, with alliances hardening and diplomacy stalled. The Russia-China bloc challenges the Western-led order, making this a global struggle. Military posturing, economic warfare, and diplomatic deadlock are all symptoms of a deeper competition. The danger of miscalculation between major powers is higher than in decades. As long as the Ukraine war continues, the risk of wider conflict grows. Russia's permanent war footing and the West's commitment to Ukraine create a dangerous stalemate. The world is trapped in a cycle of confrontation. Decisions made now will shape global security for generations. The environment is volatile and unpredictable. One flashpoint could ignite a much larger conflict. The world stands on the edge, and the need for careful diplomacy is urgent. The stakes for peace and security have never been higher.